Hello and welcome to the OTB channel. Are you looking for a lightweight distro that you can install direct to USB and use it as a portable toolkit? Or perhaps you've got an old computer, maybe even a Pentium 2, that you're looking at bringing back to life? Well, if so, maybe this video is for you. After the intro, we're going to look at Antix Linux. Hello and welcome back. First and foremost, can I just apologise to everyone for not putting out my normal Saturday video. I've been feeling a little bit under the weather, not the thing that's sweeping the globe, just your normal bug. But anyway, today I want to look at a lightweight distro that really does pack a punch. Years ago, there used to be quite a few of these around, DSL, which I don't think is being actively developed anymore, and TinyCore, which is still around and we may look at in the future. But there's one distro that keeps getting mentioned in comments from my viewers, and that's Antix. And I haven't looked at Antix, ever. I've never bothered looking at it, and yet perhaps I should have done. I often think that with many of the big name distros around, some of the smaller distros that have been around for many years get overlooked. And I can tell you right now that after looking at this distro in detail and playing with it for a day or so, I'm left wondering why this isn't more popular than it is. As you know, I've recently done the switch over to a window manager. I've tried OpenBox, I've tried BSPWM, but particularly with OpenBox, the way I managed to configure it, I started to ask myself the question, do I need a full desktop environment? Well, that was very much in my mind as I was looking at Antix, because it uses a lightweight window manager. Of your choice, you're not restricted to one. You get the choice of using several. I've used icewm with the ROX browser, and I think you'll be as impressed as I am. So let's go to the split screen to start off with and have a look at what it's all about. So this is the Antix Linux page, and you can see a picture of it there, and it's a nice looking desktop. A big focus of Antix is about putting a distro on a USB drive, and there are many ways to do this with Antix. You can install it on a live USB. You can install it in such a way that it has persistence so that you can save files onto it, and you can also do a frugal install, so you can install it on an existing hard drive within an existing system. It's incredibly flexible as far as how it does this. It's also designed for older computers. Older computers going all the way back to the old Pentium 2s. In fact, if I go onto the Antix FAQ page here, what it actually says is, here we are, Antix should run on most computers ranging from 192 megabytes old Pentium 2 systems, and it comes pre-configured with 128 meg of swap. Now that's the full version of Antix. There are also a range of different configurations. You don't have to download the full version. You can just download the core version or the net version, and they will run with 128 meg of RAM. But the full version, what's actually recommended for it is 256 meg of RAM for the full distro. And let's face it, the full distro at 256 meg of RAM, in this day and age, it's pretty lightweight. You can also install it on a hard drive. So you don't need to just use it on a USB key. You can install it as your base system. And that's what I've done. If I go to the Wikipedia page for Antix here, it has an interesting history. According to Wikipedia, the first version was released all the way back in 2007, so it's not new to the market. It's been around for a long time. And we're currently on version 19, which is what I'm using. Preferred 256 meg of RAM. Fine. That's really not a problem for most people these days. And I notice here that it also states that it was originally based on the Mepis Linux distribution. Mepis was one of my favourites when I first started. I used to love all of its configuration tools. And of course, we have Antix that separated away from Mepis, still kept a close relationship, but it was very much based on a USB live installation or an installation for older computers. And we also have MX Linux now, which is another of the popular distros that have come out of the original Mepis. So, yeah, you can definitely tell as you look through Antix that it has its roots in the old Mepis system. But enough talk, let's just get into installing it and see what we think. So let's fire up Antix. You can see that I've created an entry here in VirtualBox. I've already installed it, in fact. But this one is just hooked up to the ISO, or it will be in a second. There you go. And let's start it. And you can see you get this nice little boot splash or grub screen. I'm not entirely sure what it is. What I do like about this is right from the word go, you have some options at the bottom. So I can pick F2 right from the word go. So let me pick UK. I can set my time zone with F3. So let's see if I can actually find that. London. There we go. And F4 gives me a whole range of options to use with grub. I don't need to use any of them, hopefully. F5 gives me the choice of whether I want to boot this live ISO in persistent mode or not. And F6, this is the thing that I really like, gives me the opportunity to run the window manager of my choice. Now, by default, it runs the ROX file manager and icewm, but as you can see there, you can run fluxbox as well, and JWM, and even herbsluftwm. Wow. So quite a few options. Let's stick with the defaults and see what happens. It's a nicely put together ISO. The whole feel of it is very lightweight, but it's quite polished as well, which I suppose is what you'd expect from something that's been around for this long. And as you can see, we've booted very quickly. Let me see if I can perhaps get a better resolution here. System, session, screen resolution, AR and R. Okay, let's have a look and see what we can get. There isn't a 1920 by 1080 option here, but let's just go for 1650 by 1080. There you go. And you can see what I'm running here. And let me just put that into the background. So here's the basic desktop. I'm not going to run through everything included here for the time being. Let me just see if I can make that bigger. It's not great, to be honest, like this, but let's go straight to the install, and we can look at the system once I've got it installed and I have the guest editions installed as well. So let me just hit the install icon. The installer won't launch because it appears to be running already in the background. Well, I don't know about that, but let's just follow along. I see it's already picked up the GB keyboard, which I set with the option on the boot menu, so let me hit next. Modify partitions or auto install using entire disk. Okay. OK to format. Yeah, absolutely fine. And it's installing away. So not much to that. It's obviously not asked for the username or the password yet. So let's see what it takes or how long it takes to get to that stage. Right, so at this stage it's paused and it's asking for operator input, which means me. So I have the option here to install grub to the master boot record. I've booted in BIOS mode, so that's going to be the option I choose. Although I could also install grub to a partition, the partition boot record, PBR. And if I'd booted in UEFI mode, I would be choosing the option to install grub to the ESP. But let's just stick with that and hit next. Computer name Antix1, example.dom, okay, whatever. I'm going to leave that as default and hit next. I'm already on United Kingdom, British English, Europe, London. I'm going to select my clock uses local time. And hit next. And then let's set up a username. So OTB as normal. And I'll set up a password. And again. And I'll set up a password for root as well. Sudo is enabled by default in Antix. I don't want to show passwords. I don't want to do auto login. Do I want to save live desktop changes? If I'd installed something to this system while it was live or made some configuration changes, it would retain that when it was being installed to the hard drive. But as I've done nothing at the moment, I'm just going to hit next. And we'll see how much longer it takes. Right, and that's the installation complete, so that was pretty quick. I'm not going to automatically reboot here. I'm going to switch this down. I'm going to boot into the system which I installed yesterday, and I've already installed the guest editions on it, so we should get full resolution straight away. So we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Right, welcome back. You can see that I've now got Antix fully installed and it is running at 1920 by 1080. I did have to install the guest editions, but that was fairly painless. What I'm really quite impressed about here, if you look at the conky over to the right, is it's running on 209 meg of RAM, which for something running in a virtual machine is quite impressive. Let me just verify that with HTOP. Yeah, 200 megs. So it runs at 200 megs or less. I've opened and closed a few programs. So initially it was running at about 190 megs. But ultimately, this is very, very lightweight. It's running the icewm window manager. I've had a look at that in the past very briefly, and it's often described as having a Windows 95-ish look. I have to say that the customization that's been done on the Antix version of icewm removes that old Windows 95 look. It looks far more modern as a desktop, to the point that it even has something that looks like quite a modern menu system there. I don't know if that's the standard icewm menu or not, but hey-ho. So let's have a quick run through and see what we've got. We've got the terminal here, which is the ROX terminal. Everything installed on this system is to keep things lightweight. We have the ROX file browser or file manager, and the editor. What's this? This is Gorgon. Right, now I've not heard of it at all, but it's clearly based on Genie. What about a web browser? What's the default here? Let's wait for that to launch. And it's looking like Firefox to me, but let's just do a help about and have a look-see. Where are we? About Firefox. Firefox Quantum is installed. Okay, great. What else have we got here? Well, if we go to the first section, Antix, we have a whole range of different applications. Set our date and time, command line control center. What do we want to do here? Internet tools and apps, system tools, system information, live system center. Right, so let's just have a look at the configuration file. Right, oh, the fstab, the slim.conf file, the live remaster exclude list. Right, there's a few things there. What about system information? List all blocked devices. Well, let's just hit OK and enter my password. Oh, right, and it runs the command for us. Okay, that's quite neat. Nice little tool. What else have we got here? We have our live USB kernel updater and the live USB maker. I have actually used the live USB maker, and I've burnt a copy of Antix to a USB drive, and the live USB maker allows you to create a USB boot disk with persistence. And I've just been playing around with it on my ThinkPad, and it seems to work really well. Personal menu editor, YAD color, format USB, CLI apt-based package manager. I wonder if that's, what does it want? There are upgrade 27 packages now. View a list of packages to be upgraded or ignore these for now. Okay, so this would appear to be a command line apt updater. So search for Antix kernels, search for all kernels, view a list of 83 suggested command line packages. Great, okay. All helpful, things that I've not actually seen before. Right, applications. The chroot rescue scan, backlight brightness, the Antix updater. So I presume this is just a front end to the software sources. I believe this runs just on Debian 10. And yes, it just runs apt. You can obviously just use the command line if you prefer, but if you prefer to click something in the menu, well, that option's there for you. What about accessories? Well, okay, Archive Manager, Calcurs, Cherry. I have no idea what Cherry Tree is. What is Cherry Tree? Does it tell us? A hierarchical note-taking application. Okay. Some people might find that useful, I suppose, but it's also got LeafPad there, Midnight Commander, RxVT as a terminal, Search Monkey, the Space FM file search, and of course the updater. Let's go to the updater and see what that is. Aha! And that gives me the little update manager in the system tray there. It's not actually coming up. Oh, right. Yes, it is. And it's telling me what I can upgrade now. So there seems to be many ways of accessing apt here. So education, LibreOffice Math. Games, you've got a DOSBox emulator. I can't even pronounce that. Geweled and Mahjong. You've got digital camera browser, GTK Cam. LibreOffice Draw, Mirage, MT Paint, screenshot tool and simple scan. Internet. Okay, well, I installed Chromium on this yesterday. It didn't have Chromium installed, but it installed very quickly. And a simple way to set up your Samba shares. Conman is the tool that's used to connect your wireless, and I can confirm it worked fine. Droopy, I have no idea what Droopy is. Never mind, I'm going to shut that down. What else? GFTP, GNOME PPP. I don't know how many people still use dial-up, but the option's there should you need it. HexChat, so an IRC client. Links to the Links browser. There we go. And we can no doubt display web pages within the Links browser. I haven't used that for years. I'd have to have a look and see. But nevertheless, it's an option. What else have you got? Transmission, so you've got your BitTorrent client there and WPA GUI. ALSA Mixer, a Sunder CD Ripper, GUVC View for your webcams, SM Tube, a sound card chooser, a speaker test. Strangely enough, the full LibreOffice suite's there, which I'm quite surprised at, considering this is all about keeping things tiny. And on preferences, you have a whole range of different things. A disk manager, AR&R, a Bluetooth manager. Let's have a look at the firewall configuration. This looks to be GUFW, yeah, and it is disabled by default, which you tend to find in most distros these days. I'm not quite sure about that to this day. Set your font size, your DPI, and your wallpaper chooser. So that's obviously the wallpaper that's showing at the moment. So if I hit select picture, you've got a couple of options there, including a light one. Okay. You can choose random wallpaper or timed wallpaper. Do you know something? I think I prefer that one, the default wallpaper, but you can obviously install wallpapers as you wish. What else have we got here? Programming, so you've got Genie. Is that the full Genie? No, it's Gorgon. Okay, so it's the cut down version. Or I'm assuming it's the cut down version anyway. And then on your system, wow, so you've got a whole range of things. You've got GDebi there, GRSync, HTOP, PC information. Let's just have a look. Select the info tool you wish to use and click the button. Find out if this is a 64-bit or a 32-bit CPU. This is a 64-bit CPU. Okay. That's quite nice. I like that. Right. Let's just knock it off. What else have we got here? Synaptic Package Manager. Okay. Let's open that up. And yeah, you've got the full Synaptic here, which is great to see. Just out of interest, what are the repositories? And I can see that it's using the Mepis Linux repository there, or the mirror, should I say, to Buster. And it's also hooked up to Buster backports, updates, etc., etc. So it's a standard Debian system. And you can do everything with this that you can do on any other Debian system. What else? You've got a task manager there. I don't know what task manager this is. It's LX task. Okay. I see that my RAM usage has gone up a little bit now to 234 megs, but I have been opening and closing apps left, right and centre. So for something that's incredibly lightweight, it pretty much comes fully loaded, which is great to see. I'm just wondering if there is an app installer here. I'm sure there will be, and I've probably just missed it. I don't necessarily expect to see an app store, but I would hope to see some sort of easy app installer. Let me just have a look. We might not actually be there as yet, but okay. So personal menu help video, recent files, the desktop. I'm pleased to see a simple switch there for conky on or conky off. So we've switched it off there and we can switch it back on. I wish a few more distros would do that with conky. I'm not the greatest fan, I must admit, of conky. It's just one of those things that I'm not that keen on it. An app killer. Right, so I'm not quite sure how this works. So let's open a terminal and let's click app killer. And we just, once selected, we click on the app that we want to kill. Okay, great. We then have a control center. So what's in the control center? Okay, so don't forget that icewm, although we've chosen it as our default installation, you could also have chosen JWM or fluxbox. And I see the standard settings for the desktop are all pretty much here. So if you wanted to edit your conky configuration, you can bring up the configuration file straight away. What about system? Right, so manage packages. That's going to bring up Synaptic. A package installer. Aha, this is the sort of thing that I was looking for. So you can see here automatically that at the moment I have Firefox and Chromium installed. If I wanted to install, let's say, the Brave browser, let's give it a go. And in the background, this is running apt-get and just installing the browser. I'm presuming that's it done already, but we'll see in a second. In fact, we'll come back to that. Oh, here we go. Do I want to continue? Yes, I do. Whether you actually need this sort of configuration tool or not is a moot point. I think it's quite nice having it. And I have to say, the feel of this whole system at the moment reminds me very much of the old Mepis days. The tools look very similar, and it comes fully loaded with just about everything that you could possibly need to make life easier. So it's continuing to unpack the Brave browser here, and hopefully we'll all be done in a second. Right. Do you want to exit the package installer? Let's say yes. Let's go and have a look in our menu and see if it's there already. Under Internet. And there you go. Welcome to Brave. So, easy to install stuff. Choose Startup Services. This isn't System D. This is the old system. System 5, I think it was called. And you have all of your run levels here, and this is just your basic run level editor. So you'll set up whatever you want to start. It's nice to have. The alternatives configurator. Right, so I presume this means what you want to use as a default more than anything else. Okay. I'd need to look at that in a bit more detail. Edit config files. Right, okay. So this presumably is giving you the option to look at one of your additional sources lists. So if you want to add the Opera or the VirtualBox or the Liquorix kernels to this, you would simply uncomment their respective repositories, which is nice, and then set date and time. Now, there are a million ways here to set up your internet connection. It doesn't really matter if you're on a wired connection because it picks it up automatically. What I found when I used the live version on a live USB and booted it on my ThinkPad was I used Conman Wi-Fi Connect to set up my wireless, and it pretty much worked straight away, so I had no issues with that at all. You can set up your shares here. Droopy is apparently all about file sharing. Okay. The session, change your key map, change the slim background. I presume the slim background is what they use instead of grub. But okay, I'm just going to cancel that. Set a grub boot image. Password prompt for sudo. Let's have a look and see what that says. Okay. And what are the options here? So do you want to use su or do you want to use sudo? And use a desktop session. Oh, so this is your basic start file. What do you want to start up when the system starts? Okay. Mount connected devices, manage disks, live USB maker GUI, imager partition, and synchronize directories. That's nice. Print settings, sound settings, mouse configuration. Let's have a look at print settings and see what it brings up. Right, this is the first time I've clicked on this and it's already picked up my printer. The Canon MG 6500, 5600 should I say. Let's just see if it works. Let me hit print test page and I'll let you know if anything happened. Oh, you probably can hear in the background my printer starting off now. That's quite impressive. And I'm just looking behind me. And yes, indeed, the test page is printing out, which is good to see. The fact that this actually came up without me doing any sort of configuration is great. Drivers, so there's an automatic NVIDIA driver installer there. Windows wireless drivers. A codecs installer. Do you assume responsibility for downloading these? Yeah, I do. Why not? They've been downloaded and installed. And maintenance. Do an ISO snapshot, a system backup, boot repair. What does boot repair do? You can hear the printer still going in the background, so just bear with the noise. So if I wanted to reinstall grub or repair the configuration file, this is a utility that allows me to do that. Let me just be quiet while this printer finishes. Right, I think that's finished doing what it's doing. So that's a nice little utility to have, and a user manager. So presumably this allows you to add a new user. Okay, so that's a nice set of tools there. As I say, it's very reminiscent of what Mepis used to be like. Refresh the menu for anything I've just installed. And then we have some links to videos, the Antix FAQ, the Antix Live how-to. Let's just click on that. Right, I like having manuals and the like on a system. I just think they make so much difference. So not just to Antix, and to the MX and the Antix wiki, but icewm, the applications. So we've got to think about the firewall and a selection of man pages there. Okay, a run dialog. Great. What else have we got here? Focus, sloppy mouse focus, strict mouse focus. Okay, if you want to focus your mouse. And then preferences. So I'm just having a look on this. I would need to look in a bit more detail to see exactly what this is about, but this would appear to give me a whole range of options as to what I show on the menu bar, etc., etc. Okay, along with a whole range of key bindings, many of which already appear to be set, and standard configuration options. I then have many themes. So Blue Day Medium is currently the one that is active. So if I chose another one, Antix Blue Large, right, okay, I can see that's made a change. Oh, and I don't like that. So Blue Day Medium is a much nicer theme, I think. Let's pick something from down here. Simplest Black Medium. Okay. Or Ultra Black Medium. I have to say, I think Antix has picked... Oops. I think Antix has picked the correct theme in Blue Day Medium. It's a much nicer, easy to look at system. Okay, so, I mean, this is all I wanted to do. I've gone through the menu system. I think it's a very simple, clean, very usable distro. This interface, as you know, I've recently started exploring window managers, including OpenBox, which I'm actually booted into at the moment. I could live with this. Let's go and have a chat. Right, so let's have a chat. I have to say, for me, those of you who watch my channel will know that there are two distros that are quite close to my heart. Debian Stable, and Arch. And I use both. I use Arch for playing on, and I tend to use Debian Stable for my work. Well, Antix is based on Debian Stable. It's essentially a straightforward Debian installation, but with special custom tools built on top to make life a lot easier for the user. And I wasn't really sure what to expect when I fired up this distro. I suppose I had in my mind the old days of DSL, where you had a fluxbox window manager. Not that there's anything wrong with fluxbox, but it used to be pretty basic. So I wasn't expecting this to be as fully featured as it was. And I was pleasantly surprised, to the extent that now that I've kind of moved away from using full desktop environments, I started to ask myself the question, okay, I can live in OpenBox really easily. I know that. I've been doing it for the last month or so. Could I live in this as my main distro? Absolutely I could. I really could. I'm not the sort of user who's too concerned about bloat. I've got 16 gig of RAM on my system. You'd need a big program that would overpower that. And many of us are in the same situation. But if you have an old computer that only has a small amount of RAM and you're not able to upgrade it, you know, to what perhaps you need for one of the modern distros, this is a great alternative. More than that, though, even if you have a computer with plenty of RAM, this is a great distro anyway. It's a full Debian system. It comes fully loaded with apps. You can install what you want on it. It's easy to configure. The tools that the Antix developers have added make it really easy to administer, to the point that there seems to be a tool to do everything. A tool to run a command line command without you having to remember what it was. So overall, I'm really impressed with it. And I have to say, there's not that many distros leave me with that impression. Some of them I think are quite good, but we seem to be on a bit of a roll here. I was impressed with Ferren, which was the last distro where I thought, wow, that's really good. But Antix, yeah, I think that's really good as well. I'd recommend you go out and try it and see what you think, even if you're going to put it on a live USB stick rather than a hard drive. So that's it for today, guys. I'm going to go back to bed, I think. I'm not quite recovered, but hopefully see you in a couple of days. Happy Easter, by the way. I know it's a bit of a moot point given the lockdown at the moment, but try and have a great day, and I hope you and your families all stay well. And we'll see you in a day or two.